A lot of stuff I could be talking about in One Piece right now. We got King Harald and the flashback going on at Elbaf with the world government and Emu, learning a lot about the Abyss contracts, learning a lot about the God's Knights, learning a lot about God Valley. We got Rox and Eris and all the rest of his crew. You know, we got Roger and Garp and Dragon in their younger years. Loki, that's always a hot topic. Ah, man. Lot of stuff to discuss. Hey, you guys want to talk about puppies today? Let's talk about doggos. I love talking about dogs. Yeah, they're great. All right, if you ever wanted to know if Oda was more of a cat person or a dog person, let me just tell you, there's only about 3 Zoans that are cats, and there's like 10 that are dogs. It is the most abundant family of Zoans in the One Piece series by far. Oda is officially, authoritatively, a dog person. And I am as well. Owned dogs my entire life. Never had a cat. I have nothing against cats. My aunt will like rescue cats from like really like abused households and like foster them and try to get them homes and things like that. So I've been around cats a lot. A lot of my friends own cats, but I'm just, you know, personally more of a dog person. You want to see the dogs that I've had throughout my life? Because I was digging through some old photos. We've had 3. I don't know if you've ever seen Max. Max was, my parents got Max before I was born. He was a Cocker Spaniel. I don't remember him too well because he died when I was like 6, but I found some old pictures of Max. There he is at Christmas, and there he is with his little ball. I remember Max a little bit there. And then there was Lucky. Lucky we got when I was like 8 or 9 years old, and he was a beagle. And there's me and Lucky at our kitchen when I was a little kid, and he was a really good dog. He lived until he was like 14. I was in college when he finally passed. And then we have Duchess, and I think you all remember Duchess if you've seen the channel. So yeah, there's Duchess. I have a lot of photos of Duchess, obviously, and she was a boxer, and she was also, they were all best doggo. All right, but yeah, I want to get another dog. If I do get another dog, it's probably going to be another boxer, just because, you know, Duchess was awesome. So yeah, there you go. I just wanted to show dogs at the beginning of the video here. All right, so a lot of devil fruits to discuss in this one. Let's just get to it. I'm not going to discuss ones I've already talked about. So like Katarina Devon has the Nine-Tails Fox zone. Already talked about her. Yamato has the Okuchi no Makami. That will also be a separate video, a mythical zone video. And then Cerberus already made a video about Cerberus. Cerberus is actually not officially declared as an Inu no Mi model Cerberus, but I think we can all assume that it's a pretty safe bet to say that Cerberus is in the dog category, right? But let's start with the normal doggos. Let's start with the first dog fruit scene in the story, and it was actually a cannon or a bazooka that ended up eating the devil fruit. First devil fruit in the story confirmed as an object eaten by a devil fruit, or a devil fruit eaten by an object, I should say. So we have Babe, Mr. 4, and Trophy, Miss Merry Christmas's pet, Lasso, who was a bazooka that consumed the Inu no Mi model Dachshund, and turned into a Dachshund. Bazooka. Dog. Yeah. Yeah, he's just a dog.
Yeah, I'm just a dog.
Yeah, so I don't know if this qualifies as like an animal rights violation or something, but I understand it's a dog, but also a bazooka cannon, but it shoots baseballs as ammunition, so I guess Mr. 4 has to like load up the bazooka with baseball bombs, and then the cannon transforms into a dog and then sneezes, because Lasso does canonically have a cold while Alabasta's going on. So Lasso is not normally, I guess, as devastating with like sneezing and throwing baseball bombs, only when Lasso has a cold at the moment. But yeah, fought against Chopper and Usopp, and they were winning really well until eventually they worked together and they were able to outmaneuver them and they were able to defeat all 3 of them. But don't worry, Lasso is okay. Babe and Trophy, yeah, they're okay too, but whatever. Is the dog okay? That's the one we have to all worry about. Is the doggo okay? And Lasso is fine. He's a tank now. I don't mean like he's a tank. I mean he's quite literally a tank. So Miss Golden Week used her Rainbow's colored strap during the Meet Baroque series, and all of the members of Baroque Works were able to realize their dreams. So Mr. 5 becomes a firefighter. Let's see, Miss Merry Christmas becomes a princess. Babe, Mr. 4 becomes a pizza delivery man. Really shooting for the stars on that one. Hey, keep your dreams reasonable, I guess, if nothing else. And Lasso wanted to be a tank, so let the doggo be a tank. So yeah, Dachshunds. The name literally just means badger dog in German because they were originally bred to hunt badgers. I didn't know that. They can be rather stubborn at times. Anybody that owns a dachshund can attest to this. I've never owned a dachshund. But they also are very prone to back injuries. They're dogs that have the very long sort of bodies, so jumping up and down can actually cause them some prolonged back injury problems. Yeah, that's a dachshund. There you go. Very adorable dogs. I wouldn't mind having. I would not mind. Listen, there's a rule here, and it's a rule that I've said to all my friends. It's kind of a running gag. Every time I meet a dog, I'm always like, oh, that's a good dog. And my one friend is like, you just think every dog is a good dog. I'm like, absolutely, I do think every dog is a good dog. That is the law of the universe, damn it. All right, so yeah. Dachshund, right, okay. Then we have Chaka. What does Chaka turn into? Well, Chaka transforms into a kind of canine type animal. I'm not really sure how to describe the animal that Chaka turns into.
A jackal! Jackal! It's a jackal! It looks like a jackal! Jackal!
I think it might be a jackal. Yeah. So Chaka transforms into a jackal. Now, just like we just got done talking about the bird Zoans a few days ago, Pell can transform into a falcon because the falcon is reminiscent of Horus, one of the guardian deities of Egypt and Alabasta. And so Chaka transforms into a jackal because Anubis is a jackal. Right? Anubis really isn't like super high up on the Egyptian pantheon. He's more of like middle management in the underworld. If you're talking about underworld, it's like Osiris, who's like the big head honcho down there. But I think Anubis just really spoke to people. I don't know why. Just a dude with a dog head that holds some scales. You know, people like dogs. And so Anubis, right? Okay. So yeah, Chaka transforms into a jackal and is the second strongest warrior in all of Alabasta behind Pell, of course. So watch out, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to invade Alabasta, you're going to have to face off against a bird and a dog. There's no way in hell you're making it past them. Actually, Chaka combines his raw animal power with his swordsmanship. Pell does as well, actually. So they can be pretty devastating in battle. Remember, the whole point of Zoans is to boost your physical stats rather than give you crazy, wacky, magical abilities, right? And so just combine the running strength or the tenacity of a jackal with a sword and, you know, you could hurt some people. There you go. So jackals are very opportunistic omnivores. They will hunt, but they will also scavenge. They will steal food if they have to. They'll pretty much do whatever they gotta do to survive. It's rough out there, yeah. And yeah, Chaka is still at Alabasta. We see him at the funeral of Cobra. And yeah, so just like with Pell, I'm not sure if he's going to show back up in the story, but he is still around. He's still alive. He has the devil fruit. I'm sure he's training with it. I mean, okay, actually, wait a minute. If Pell and Chaka show up next and they're both awakened, okay, that would be sick for two reasons. Number one, we could see them maybe fight some stronger opponents. All right, I'm just going to throw it out there. Awakened Pell and awakened Chaka. Who are, like, the strongest opponents that they could reasonably defeat? Like, could have awakened Pell defeated Arlong? I think pre-awakened Pell might have actually been able to defeat Arlong, if we're being honest here. Okay. Could awakened Pell and awakened Chaka defeated Crocodile pre-time skip at Alabasta? I don't know. If they know hockey, then yes. If they were awakened and they knew hockey pre-time skip Crocodile, maybe not a guarantee, but they might have had a solid shot at beating him. Maybe I'm gassing up Chaka and Pell too much here, but awakened with hockey? And also the other reason is Oda could just go full on like Egyptian god at that point, right? Like you could just see Pell showing up with the awakened falcon and there's like some heavenly light behind him. Like he just looks like Horus. Chaka just looks like Anubis. Like you could do some cool shit with that, all right? So yeah, sure, let's do it. Pell and Chaka awakened. They show up at the final war to help out Vivi and the Straw Hats. Let's go with it. Yes, absolutely. Then we have Jabra Zoan, member of Cypher Pool 9, currently a member of Cypher Pool 0, Inu Inu no Mi, model wolf. He's a wolf. And I used to think they were domesticated around 15,000 years ago. So not wrong, but that's more on the most recent end of that on when they would have domesticated. They were absolutely domesticated by 15,000 years ago, making them the first animal ever domesticated. But the common ancestor from the current family dog and a wolf that currently exists, their last common ancestor kind of split off around 40,000 years ago, okay? And it was a common thing for a lot of canines back then, even just beyond wolves, foxes would do this too. Hey, there are these humans walking around eating a bunch of food and then leaving some leftovers behind. We're going to follow them when they leave and we're going to eat their food. And that's a good source of food. And so that kind of happened with the wolves, and then eventually wolves became, companion animals of humans, and then eventually domestication occurred. And now we have the family golden retriever or something. Isn't that cool? That's pretty neat. All right. But yeah, wolves are pretty powerful. Their bite force can be well over 400 psi. So yeah, they have webbed toes because they walk a lot in snow, so that helps them run in the snow. They can, of course, run really, really far and really, really fast. Though the fast is sort of like with most animals, they can run up to 30 miles an hour in short bursts. They can't maintain that for long periods of time. So the whole thing with the alpha wolf, from what I understand, that's kind of bullshit. Basically, what happened was back in the 1940s, there was a dude that was researching wolves in captivity. Okay, wolves in captivity in a small enclosure, not indicative of their normal environment, right? That environment, this researcher deemed that there's an alpha wolf, an alpha male, then an alpha female, and then it goes on from there, and that's the way wolves are structured. And then a lot of people in pop culture, for movies and books and things like that, started to take that idea and be oh yes, the alpha wolf, right? And so that's where that kind of emerged. But then as people started to go out and research more and more about wolves in nature, in their normal environment, it became very clear that wasn't the case, and they tried to be no, this is not how it works. And by that point, though, it was just yeah, I know, but the whole idea of the alpha wolf sounds really cool, so we're going to put that in books and movies and shit. Yeah, but that's not the way they actually do it. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So there we go. Now, just like with Kaku, Jabra, member of Cypherpole 9, knows the Rokushiki, the 6 powers. And so, as with Kaku's expertise being in the Rankyaku, in the Tempest Kick, Jabra's was Tekai. So he had Tekai Kempo. And so he combined his Tekai powers with his wolf zone. So he would harden up his body and his nails, and he would run at you and shred you and bite you. Really devastating. If you kicked him, he could endure a lot with his Tekai prowess. So Sanji had to turn up the heat, as it were. He had to make some hot dogs, if you know what I mean. So he went into Diablo Jambe, and he was able to not punch through Tekai, not kick through Tekai. He burned through that shit. And then Jabra got burned really bad, and he was defeated. But don't worry, the dog is okay. All of the dogs in One Piece are okay. Hold on, let me just double check. Okay, yeah, they're still alive. Yeah, they're still alive. Okay, yeah, all of the dogs in I'm not sure if he's a dog necessarily. We'll get back to him. He might be dead, but we don't know exactly. Okay, we'll get back to them. But most of the dogs are okay. They're all right, okay?
Oh, by the way, coincidentally, another little fun fact about Jabra. He's always in his hybrid form during Ennie's lobby. We never see him in his full wolf form, except in the cover story. That is the only time we see him in his full wolf form, in CP9's independent report, when Lucci is in a coma and they have to band together to raise money for medical bills. That was the plot of a One Piece cover story. Yeah, you bet your bottom dollar it was. Anyway, Bluno kind of works as the ringmaster. They put on a circus show in the middle of St. Poplar. He puts up a ring of fire, and then Jabra goes into his full wolf form, and then Bluno is come one, come all, see the wolf man jump through the amazing war wolf, jump through a ring of fire. And so you see Jabra in his full wolf form woo! Woo! Jumping through the fire, and everyone's woo! Shut up and take my money! So that's really funny. It kind of seems like a D&D sort of vibe. Hey, your party has to raise money for something. All right, I could wild shape into a wolf. Let's put on a circus show. It's all right, that's pretty fun. That's pretty cool. So yeah, Jabra, he's still alive. He's still good. We'll be seeing him again for sure. And if we're going along with the logic that hey, Lucci awakened. That makes sense. Kaku only had his devil fruit for 2 fucking years, and he was able to awaken it. So why not Jabra? Jabra has an awakened wolf right now. And I don't think the other, Fukuro and Khalifa. Khalifa has a devil fruit, but it's not a Zoan. I guess she can awaken her soap Paramecia. Why not? And then Fukuro is an owl, but he doesn't have the owl Zoan. Sometimes they just have the appearance of animals rather than actually, like Kumadori is like an octopus or a lion, but he doesn't actually have a devil fruit. But maybe he got one in the time skip. Who knows? Anyway, so yeah, that's wolves. Next up, we have Dalmatian, the Vice Admiral. We see at Marineford, who has the Dalmatian Zoan. Yep. Inu no Mi, model Dalmatian. This is where we get, well, we got it with Dachshund too, but Oda will do like a dog breed, which they're all the same species. It's like dog breeds were invented by us as humans. We basically just figured out how evolution worked, and we started doing like artificial selection with dogs. And so, yeah, all dog breeds, like a Dachshund could breed with like a German Shepherd. You know what I mean? They're all the same kind of species. At least I'm assuming that's how it works. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So we have Dalmatians, right? Okay. So Dalmatians are born entirely white as a white coat, and their black spots, their iconic black spots, appear as they get older. A lot of them are subjected to deafness. It has something to do with having a white coat, because I know with boxers, some boxers have a white coat. Duchess had like a brindle kind of coat, but when white boxers are born, like 50% of them are born deaf or something like that. There must be something with like the genes when it comes to having a white coat and like deafness in dogs. I'm not exactly 100% sure on that. Anybody that knows more could let me know. So yeah, Dalmatians are also used a lot as like, they were started off as like carriage dogs and things, but now I think they're the most iconic as like fire dogs. You always see Dalmatians next to firefighters and things like that, right? Okay, there we go. Dalmatian as the Vice Admiral, we always just see him in his hybrid form, actually. We've never seen him in his pure human form. We've never seen him in his full Dalmatian form. And this kind of kicks off the running theme of having Vice Admirals named after dogs, and then also having Zoans to turn into said dogs. So we're going to see that again with Hound, all right? And by the way, you know what? I'm just getting ahead of Oda right now. We have a character who is a Vice Admiral and has the name Doberman. We don't know if he has the Doberman zone, but I'm getting ahead of this and just saying, yeah, sure, he has the Doberman zone. Hound can turn into a Hound. Dalmatian can turn into a Dalmatian. Doberman can turn into a Doberman. Dobermans are extremely fast dogs. They can run up to over 32 miles per hour, and they are exceedingly intelligent. Some of the most intelligent dog breeds out there. However, despite the fact they get sort of a bad reputation as like vicious attack dogs, which they can be rather vicious, they're also really affectionate and emotional as well as that. I think that starts from like, there's a lot of examples of this. The most notable one, though, is from The Simpsons. Mr. Burns is like, release the hounds. And so then the Dobermans come out and like try to maul Homer or whatever the hell, right? Okay. So yeah, but they can be rather affectionate. So yeah, not even confirmed to be a devil fruit that exists, but Inu no Mi model Doberman. I'm just doing that one. Why not? All right. That way I don't have to come back later when we find out Doberman has that devil fruit and I have to make a separate video about it. Is Doberman still alive? Because Saturn kind of gave him the glare and he had the brain explosion. So hopefully Doberman is still alive. I hope he is anyway. But yeah, that was Dalmatian and then Doberman, I guess. Then we have Mino Chihuahua. He is the newest edition of Impel Down's Demon Guards, the Jailer Beasts. So we had a koala, we had a Tauros, we had a cow, we had a rhino, we have a zebra, and now we have a Chihuahua. Okay? And so Inu no Mi model Chihuahua. Mino Chihuahua wears like a martial artist kind of like outfit a little bit. Let's see. Chihuahuas, the smallest dog breed, or one of the smallest dog breeds. You might get something smaller than a Chihuahua, although I don't think so. I think Chihuahua is the smallest. They are named after the location where they were first found, which is the state of Chihuahua in Mexico. And they have, this is a great fun fact, they have the highest aggression to body mass ratio out of any dog breed. And if you've seen Chihuahuas, my one friend in high school had 2 of them. Every time we walked into his house, oh my God, those 2 Chihuahuas were like just, yapping and just jumping around on the coffee table and the couch and just defensive stance and just like, who is this? Who is this? Different person. And it was just like, it was crazy whenever you would walk into these houses. These Chihuahuas wanted to mess you up so bad. All right. So yeah, don't piss off a Chihuahua. Don't piss off a Chihuahua. It'll mess you up. And don't piss off Mino Chihuahua. That's a big Chihuahua. The Chihuahua's final form has been achieved, and it'll kick your ass. Then is an awakened Chihuahua. Yeah, all right. So we don't know much about Mino Chihuahua because, you know, he only appears in a cover page, and that's it, although he has an appearance very similar to the rest of the Demon Guards and is also awakened for that reason. So there we go. All right, next up. This is a good one. We have Bunbuku. You guys remember Bunbuku, right? Bunbuku is the Tanuki that lives with Tama and with Tenguyama Hitetsu, or Sukiyaki, as we find out later. So we have a Tanuki that is also a tea kettle. It is a tea kettle or a teapot that is an object that ate a dog zone. If I had a nickel for every object that ate a devil fruit in this story, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. You know what I mean? So, yeah, much to a lot of people's surprises, you know how, like, Chopper. Yeah, Chopper. You know how Chopper is often referred to as, like, a Tanuki or a raccoon dog? Yeah, and Tanukis are often regarded as, like, you know, fictional characters or, like, fantasy folklore characters in Japan. No, Tanukis are actual animals. They're not, you know, raccoons. They are actually dogs. They are canines. And so, yeah, here they are. There's images of them. They're in zoos. You can go look at them. They're rather adorable, right? They can climb trees really, really well. And there is like a folktale angle of this where they can transform and they have a very notably large ball sack. This is all for science, ladies and gentlemen. And there is a tale called, I actually wrote it down. What is it called? Bunbuku Chagoma, I believe. Bunbuku Chagama. And it's the story of a Tanuki that transforms into a pot. And so that's the reason why that's in One Piece. Yeah, Bunbuku doesn't do that much. He's just kind of off to the side, sort of like blink and you'll miss him in the manga. In fact, I think if I remember correctly, I did miss the existence of Bunbuku the first time I read through that chapter and reviewed it. Yeah, he's there, and somebody asked about him in an SBS, and Oda confirmed that, like, yeah, it's like a tea kettle that ate the dog zone, so can transform into a Tanuki. Not a mythical, just Tanuki. So, yeah, they exist. Crazy, isn't it? Yeah, that's the most notable fun fact there, I suppose. Okay, next up, we have Hound, the Vice Admiral that really didn't do anything all throughout Egghead. Like, if you were gonna, like, all right, in the award for the Vice Admiral that did jack shit the entire time at Egghead, we have Vice Admiral Hound. Come up here and get your award. Yeah, Hound. What did he do? What did he do? He didn't like, you know, you have Red King that fought against Frankie, Guillotine tried to fight against Bonnie and everybody, Pomsky, and Bluegrass and Doll all went up against Bonnie, and she used her age powers to turn them into kids, so they were defeated pretty handily, but at least they tried. What did Hound do? I think Hound's greatest accomplishment was, like, at one point people were like, oh my god, look at all those crazy yokai monsters, what's going on, Hound? And Hound's like, I don't fucking know. That's his accomplishment. That's his greatest thing. That is his greatest accomplishment. The only thing I can recall from Egghead was, like, people were asking their Vice Admiral what the hell was going on, and he was just like, I don't know. We learn a little bit more about him in an SBS. Apparently he graduated in the same class as Smoker, so I guess him and Smoker are friends, I guess. I don't know. So he has the ability to transform into a hound. Oh, wait, I don't have any. Oh, you know why? Because we don't see it. We don't see it in Egghead. He doesn't transform into his hybrid form or his full Zoan form. We didn't even know he had a Zoan. Oda revealed it in an SBS after the fact. By the way, he can turn into a hound. Hound isn't even a breed of dog. It's a type of breed of dog, right? Hound dogs. Does he turn into a bloodhound? Does he turn into a beagle? Does he turn into a bugle? I don't know. I would prefer he turns into a beagle because, you know, I had a dog that was a beagle. Yeah, there's Lucky, you know. You know, he can turn into a bloodhound as well, so let's just do that. I mean, hound dogs, bloodhounds especially, have, like, the strongest noses ever that can, like, lock on to a scent, and sometimes they're just, like, so focused, they don't even just, like, to stop taking orders. They're just, like, following the scent trail, and a bloodhound's testimony in court has held up
probably not the actual dog itself getting on the stand and attesting to what it smelled. You know, it's like, oh yeah, so we followed the scent and found the victim underneath a bunch of dirt under the bridge. You know, the bloodhound is up there like, woof, woof, woof. Okay, I accept that testimony. All right, but it is used admissible in like court cases and things like that, because their noses are just so damn good, right? You know, so yeah, hunting dogs and the like. Yeah, that's Hound. I mean, like, I like dogs, so it'd be nice to see Hound again, to transform into a little hound dog, but I don't really care for Hound, the character. What else? Oh, he originally had blonde hair, but then he was going to egghead, so he decided to dye it red. He was like, oh man, this is going to egghead, this is getting serious, I better dye my hair. It was just an anime error, but, like, you know, that'd have been funny. Okay, so that's Hound. Then let's see here. Then we just have, I think we're done pretty much. We have Cerberus. I've already discussed Cerberus before, but mythological Zoan that allows Shamrock's sword to transform into a 3-headed dog. Technique called Scramble to kind of like spin the heads like a drill and like ram into Loki and like shred his stomach. It looked very, very painful. It looked like an extremely powerful attack. Cerberus is the mythical guard of the underworld, and I think I've talked a lot about like the you know, Cerberus mythical character during that video. But something else I learned, I don't think I mentioned, is in some depictions in media, Cerberus is also part snake, not just the 3-headed dog, but also some snake put in there too, and has like snakes coming out of it, and the snakes can bite you and inject venom. So yeah, that's just something interesting that I read about today that I felt like I'd, you know, throw in there. But yeah, other than that, there is a mythical Zoan that a pen consumed, another object that ate a dog Zoan in One Piece, I think Unlimited World Red. It was Patrick Redfield's little pet that could transform into the mythical Tanuki that can actually warp and change into different things, but that's non-canon. And then we also have the Okuchi no Makami, which is Yamato's Zoan, which we will be discussing his Zoan in a different video. That'll be a whole dedicated video to Yamato's Okuchi no Makami, which is like a mythical god wolf of Wano. So we'll tackle that then. And then we already talked about Katarina Devon, so that's pretty much it. I even included Doberman, who we don't even know has a devil fruit period, but I threw him in there because why not? All right. Well, anyway, those were all of the dog zones. Hope you enjoyed. What's your favorite breed of dog? What kind of dogs do you guys have? Yeah, there we go. All right, next up, talking about the horses, the horse zones. So let's see. We got Pierre. We also have Mino Rhinoceros, I'm including in the horse zone category. We have Mino Zebra as well. And Stronger, who can turn into a Pegasus. I felt like I was thinking about giving Stronger his own video, but like, he's just a horse that has wings. I mean, there's a couple of stuff to discuss, but like an entire video is maybe a little much. So we're throwing Stronger in with the rest of the horses. All right. Moving along at a good pace, I guess. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. This will be Techie 101 signing out. Later, all.